The Witcher 3 f***ing slaps. And I'm not talking about a little baby slap, I'm talking... You are CD Projekt Red. The year is 2013, and you've just released a trailer for The Witcher 3, and the hype train is already starting to pick up speed. Now, there are two ways you can handle this situation. You can let the hype train run its course and fail to meet expectations from a gaming community more demanding than Photoshop on my CPU, or you can be transparent about the game's development, be honest about the potential slip-ups, and offer reassurance that the game will fit the studio's vision. So what do? Okay, everyone, listen up. We have some bad news. The game is going to be getting a graphical downgrade. I know, I understand your frustration, but to make it up to all of you, we're gonna let you fuck Yennefer. And to my surprise, this actually worked. Through this never-before-seen transparency and clarity with its audience, CD Projekt Red would become the most trusted game studio to date. The game releases without a hitch, aside from a few bugs, and for people that had never played a Witcher game before, this brought everyone's attention to something much bigger. Something even bigger than The Witcher 3. Something that they started working on all the way back in 2012. Damn, that looks good. But it's not like the game's gonna ever look like this. Okay, but even if the game looks like this, they can't promise these kinds of graphics on consoles, right? Okay, but just because a game looks good doesn't mean it's gonna have a good story or compelling character. CyberPunk 2077. The most ambitious looking game that the world had ever seen. They promised an open world, RPG elements, extensive customization, and even when the hype was getting too hot to handle, the company stood their ground and would even delay the game without hesitation. CD Projekt Red was determined to make the greatest game to ever release. And the last few days of development were perfect and amazing, and nothing bad ever happened. Please look away. Please, guys, there's nothing to see. Okay, listen here, fuckhead. I've let you and the team work on this game for 8 fucking years. Is the game done or not? Well, because if it isn't, we're gonna need to consider some budget cuts. Well, here's the thing, sir. Hold that thought. Hello? Lena, my assistant who refuses to fuck me because she's married. Listen, I've got a lunch order for you, my dear, and I'm gonna need 1 meatball sub, a metric fuck ton of those delicious chocolate chip cookies, and, psst, hey. How many employees do we have here again? What? Oh, 1,111. Great. And 42 boxes of 9mm rounds. And get some of those incendiary rounds while you're at it, love, okay? That HR has it coming. So, is the game done or not? Oh, well, the game is done, sir, but the game's done? Great! Sorry about that. Please, finish what you were saying. The game is done, sir, but it doesn't work. Come again? Well, the game is finished, sir, but it doesn't work. Okay, say that one more time. Slower. Video games. Mm-hmm. We make those. Yeah. So we made one. Mm-hmm. And that game, go on. It doesn't work. Like, at all. Oh, fuck! Oh no. Oh no! It's happening again! Cyberpunk's launch was a disaster. Bugs, glitches, and even reports of story-breaking errors where you'd have to restart your game or even lose your save files. But underneath all of it, under all the bugs and mistakes and all of the errors leading up to the game's launch, surely there's a good game here, right? Underneath all of this, there's a story. In today's video, we will delve deep into the world of Cyberpunk 2077 to discuss everything from characters to world building, all the way to the story itself, including all of the endings. This is a big one, guys, so you might want to get some snacks. Welcome to a critical view of Cyberpunk 2077.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
CyberPunk is a very difficult game to talk about, and not just because of its launch, but because of the scope of the game itself. And now that everyone's made their little video about, wow, that's not how the game should be. It's time to talk about the real problems with this game. And I'm not here to talk about this, I'm here to talk about this, and everything that revolves around it. Okay, I will show you this one bug. So, I'd get this one side character delivering dialogue every time I respawned, but not different dialogue, the same dialogue. And not just a few times, this happened for my entire playthrough.
Patriotic bullshit all day. Act like fucking animals. Patriotic bullshit all day. Act like fucking animals. Patriotic bullshit. Act like fucking animals.
Who the fuck are you calling an animal, you piece of shit? Like I was saying, CyberPunk is a very difficult game to talk about in regards to its story, its ending, and the journey that leads you there. So before we can talk about story, we need to talk about world building, which in of itself is just a different means of storytelling. Night City is beautiful to look at, and it is huge. Like, I don't think you understand how big this game actually is. If there was a graph for scale alone, it would probably go Johnny Sin's resume, the gap between my uploads, Mount Everest, and then Night City. There's probably a joke about my balls after seeing Panem in there somewhere, but look, we literally do not have time. Also, if you liked that little Johnny Sins bit, I hate to disappoint you, but that's the last good thing I'll be saying about people named Johnny in this entire video. And if you've already played the game, you've probably clicked that dislike button because I think Johnny is a shit character. I can't wait to hear the sound of you unclicking the dislike button when you find out that I'm fucking right! There are two things that this game does better than almost any AAA title. World building through the environment and fleshing out those who interact with it. And I'm not talking about you as the player, I'm talking about the people of Night City. I'm gonna do this thing talking about the gangs and factions within Night City, and a lot of you will see what I'm doing halfway through and will shit your pants if you love world building as much as I do. And for those that aren't savvy enough to see what's right in front of them, hey man, your high seems to be fading. Might I recommend Gorilla Glue? Let's start with the Voodoo Boys. The Voodoo Boys are a gang depicted through the lies of corporations as filth and little more. But dig a little deeper and you'll find a culture of technological importance and a people driven by escaping those who oppress them. Not with physical violence, but through intellectual supremacy. The Voodoo Boys used to live on their own island, but in the coming decades before the game takes place, their home is consumed by rising ocean levels and are forced to flee to the shores of Night City and... Jesus, I need to fucking put full stops in my scripts. And take refuge in the newly constructed establishments meant to be a holiday escape for the rich and wealthy. This region of the city is known as Pacifica. To combat the Voodoo Boys under the radar, corporations that held assets within Pacifica started hiring the Animals, a gang of animalistic juices paid to kill off the Voodoo Boys or to at least flush them out into the open. However, with the Voodoo Boys' advanced technologies and band of net runners, this really wasn't enough. The Voodoo Boys were a threat to the net itself and for years had been hoping to break through a digital firewall known as the Black Wall, in the hopes of talking to the rogue artificial intelligence on the other side. This is considered a very dangerous move by almost everyone within Night City. To combat against the digital threat that the Voodoo Boys hoped to possess, a private entity known as Netwatch begins to patrol the outer areas of Pacifica. Their hope is to crack into the Voodoo Boys' Netrunner operation and take it down before the Voodoo Boys make their way to the other side of the Black Wall and introduce artificial AIs into Night City, wreaking havoc for its people. Netwatch, in a sense, is a private army that can be bought for their services, with one of the biggest corporations currently funding them being Arasaka Industries. Arasaka dabble in weapons tech, software, entertainment, vehicles, you name it. However, maintaining a monopoly over so many industries is a very difficult feat, and with Arasaka striving to keep their image as clean as possible, they tend to get other people to do their dirty work for them. Publicly, they will pay private militias to aid them, but for more under-the-radar operations, they pay large sums of money to the Tiger Claw Gang. The Tiger Claw Gang hold many of the same views as the Arasaka family, so it's no wonder they are the company's go-to when shit needs to get done. The Tiger Claws are intimidators, assassins, debt collectors, with them just straight out murdering those who refuse to pay up. Through their violent tendencies, however, they've made a lot of enemies. In 2067, the Tiger Claws murdered a woman by the name of Elizabeth Elizabeth Borden. Elizabeth was executed for killing 3 Tiger Claw members after they assaulted and killed a Joy Girl. This sparked protest in the streets from Joy Girls, strippers, bar owners, which led to the collective known as the Moxes. The Moxes are no real threat to the city itself, but are more of a defensive measure against those who would want to harm women who work in specific industries dedicated to pleasure. To arm themselves and keep the gang well protected, they bought weapons illegally, with one of the main distributors of illegal arms being the Valentinos. The point I'm trying to make here is pretty obvious, but please, indulge me. The Valentinos are weapons dealers and drug smugglers with a refined taste for chrome plating. And where you'd think the police would be a simple solution to stop the gang's business practices, the Valentinos' dedication to identifying as a family keeps them on top of any threats that could come their way. But there is one group that attempts to fight back, and they're known as 6th Street Gang. 6th Street... Fuck, you know what? I'm calling them 6th Street? Suck my dick. 6th Street is a faction formed by soldiers and police officers neglected by their leaders after being dropped from their posts, and were left with nothing but their desire for patriotism and justice. Most recent members of the 6th Street Gang are troops fired from Militech, one of the main armed forces you'll be fighting in the game, and will literally work for anyone who has deep enough pockets. 6th Street would see some justice, however, as Militech consistently gets raided on the outskirts of the city. These groups of thieves and plunderers would identify themselves as nomads. There are 7 nations to the nomad clans, and where they all have their own morals, their goals are pretty much the same: steal from the rich in order to survive. They steal guns and weapons outside of the legal zones and will sell them back to the people of Night City, including, and I fucking kid you not, the Voodoo Boys.
Oh, my cock is so hard. I love narrative circles. Oh, it's a cycle of pain and fucking disaster. Ah, it goes round in a circle. The circles. The game's literally about circles.
Cyberpunk 2077 circles of fucking... Oh, dude, I'm so drunk. I'm gonna record the rest of this script tomorrow. This world is so well written that there is a reason why every gang exists, and there is a reason for why they do the things that they do. There aren't sex workers everywhere in this game because gamers like sex. Gamers are notorious for not having sex, dummy. It's because in a city where automation thrives, people are forced to find work where their main clientele are people trying to escape this monotonous town. And they do this through small pleasures like sex and drugs. Okay, you probably noticed it already. I didn't bring up Maelstrom. Okay, I'm sorry, I just forgot. I can see in the script I wrote a massive paragraph about why forgetting them is poetic and how they don't need a real reason to fucking exist in this circle. But the truth is, I literally just forgot. The one thing I'll say about Maelstrom, though, that is actually really cool is that every single person in this little cycle has a natural predator hunting them, whilst Maelstrom are literally so terrifying that they thrive specifically because they don't have a natural predator within the city. And that's kind of terrifying. But back to what I was saying. The thing that fascinates me the most is that all of these gangs just being around manages to flesh out just the regular people of Night City as well. The only reason the Moxes have so many clients, and the only reason the Joy Girls stand on every corner, is because of the massive demand for it. Night City is a fictitious place that makes people promises, but does not only break those promises, but the people that it lied to as well. Take a look at Night City. There are ads everywhere in the city, and it's interesting because all of these things are not materialistic in nature. It's all very in the moment pleasures. Now, why don't people just leave Night City if it's such a shithole? Well, it's because Night City thrives on repeat customers. I'm specifically talking about non-gang members, okay? Just regular people. You come to Night City, you put yourself in debt hoping to make it big, you fail, you can't make enough money to get out of the situation, you feel trapped, you can't escape the city, so you turn to the next big thing. Drugs, sex, food, drink. You get tired of your situation, you turn to crime. You hope that that one big score will be enough to set you free, and then you die. Then someone buys your shitty apartment and the cycle continues. There is a reason that the streets are filled with ads for small pleasures, and it's because companies thrive off of repeat customers. With everything I've spoken about so far in this segment, I'd just like to say that I did not once need to look up a wiki for any of this. That is how well this world gets across its message, if you just take a moment to listen to the city. God, man, to me, that's just so fucking cool. So I've been talking about Night City and just looking at it, but what's it like to interact with the people of Night City? I'm not going to talk about the gig or bounty missions, as they offer very little in regards to the story, that they are honestly not even worth remembering. So since I don't remember either of them, let's look at some good old side quests. Just classical story-driven side quests. Hold on, let me think. Okay, so there's this really intriguing mission where you meet up with a death row inmate who has been let go because of some sort of deal, and he wants you to join him while he spreads the word of God. This inmate genuinely believes that, in a sense, he has found God, and that it is his duty to inspire the people of Night City to be better. A lot of people think he is crazy, so he wants you to join him while he goes out to spread his holy message in the hopes of convincing you that he isn't insane. I'd just like to take a moment to point out that this man, yeah, he was imprisoned for murder, so even at the beginning of this mission, you already kind of feel on edge and think that something is up. But regardless, you keep going. On this holy journey, he takes you to a house that belongs to this woman. This woman is the sister of the man who was murdered. He then shows you that this grieving woman was able to forgive him, and he wants your opinion on this situation. Is he a man that comes across as a manipulator, using God as a get-out-of-jail-free card, or does his message of forgiveness ring true? The game is asking you if you believe that someone who has killed before deserves forgiveness, and if they are in any position to be lecturing others on how to live. The interesting thing here is that even if you are convinced that he could be helping people to love and forgive, the woman's mother walks in and is traumatized at the sight of her son's killer. And if you weren't already struggling with the morality of the questions the game is asking you, this pulls you back in and has you very, very conflicted. He thanks you for your time, and you are paid by this woman. Who is this? Oh, gee whiz, I really hope she doesn't ruin this entire fucking mission. You go to this diner and he explains that he wants to send a message to the entire world in the hopes of changing people for the better. His life is better for finding God, and he wants to share that. His plan is to get crucified while spouting his message for the world to hear. And yes, okay, I understand that sounds crazy, but trust me, it's actually a brilliant idea. He doesn't want to broadcast this sort of thing on television because people will just think he's insane. What he really wants to do is record his crucifixion through a brain dance. Brain dances are a very complicated concept in this game, so I'll try to explain it briefly. When recording a brain dance, you aren't using a camera to record someone's visual performance like in film or television. Brain dancers record someone's experiences and memories. When watching a brain dance, you hear, see, smell, and feel everything that an actor was going through in the scene, and this includes their emotions. The idea here is that he is so committed and dedicated to his beliefs that if people feel just for a moment what he feels, and the deep-rooted notion that he is willing to die just to help those who can't see a brighter future, if people are able to feel his emotion, they will be willing to change, and this is made possible through a brain dance. Record his undying commitment, dedication, love, and death, and maybe, just maybe, we can help people learn to love and forgive. After you are paid, you say goodbye, and you're left to think about these ideas and the concepts, and it's really quite fascinating just to sit there, breathe, and think. Anyway, let's talk about why this mission fucking sucks. Everything I told you does actually happen. What I left out, however, is how you come across this mission in the first place and how it actually ends. That's right, I lied to you, but when talking about a game where all the marketing was complete bullshit, you should probably be used to that by now. The amount of dumb fuckery that this game pulls to get you into this mission is fucking stupid. The mission starts with this dumbass being salty that a mass murderer killed his fucking dog or fucked his wife, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, and that they are being set free. You're being hired to chase down a patrol car that is escorting this murderer, and your goal is to kill him. Once you finally chase down the patrol car, the man that hired you gets out of the car and says, "Don't kill the guy, I want to kill the guy," which in of itself is fucking stupid, because why the fuck did you hire me to kill a guy when you're just gonna kill the guy? Whatever, okay, let's keep going. Now remember, I'm hired by this guy, so when he walks up to the patrol car and he gets shot, I instantly think that man that has yet to pay me is being killed. I better stop that. So I shoot the cop, and guess what? That was the wrong thing to do, as this game is totally busted and broken, and shooting a cop in this game makes the NCPD spawn up your fucking crapper, and they begin to fuck you while they're up there. I genuinely cannot record this next sentence without smiling. I'm sorry. What you are supposed to do is let the cop kill him, then
not retaliate.
The man you've been hired to kill gets out of the car. You're not supposed to shoot him so that he can say, "No, don't kill him, Mr. Police Officer. We need him."
Hey you wanna make some money?
Oh, fuck me, dude. I don't think I need to point out how completely stupid this is. The game punishes you for not having knowledge that the game did not give you, or even attempt to offer. You literally have to die to do the mission all over again to know that in a mission where you've been hired to kill a guy, that killing a guy is the wrong way to play the game. Imagine if instead of the NCPD spawning and making you more holy than the man you're here to kill, the officer protecting the inmate tases you and is forced to take you into custody. He throws you into the back of the car, so you're forced to ride alongside the inmate, and the inmate then gets to know you and then says, "Hey, I'm going to need this guy." Granted, you're still in a scenario where you're scripted to fail, but at least you don't shit the bed and have to do a car chase scene all over again. Jesus. Fuck. Also, the sky is broken. The reason this inmate is able to demand and request so much is that the studio that is funding this man Braindance is paying the police off in the hopes of making a profit off of selling the Braindance. And all of this leads into why the ending is complete and utter rubbish. You know how I said the mission ends after leaving the diner? Well, what I left out is that there is a part 2 to this mission. Haha, God, I just fucking love lying to you guys in order to make a fucking point. And I'll at least tell you the truth in saying that I'm 100% going to lie to you again in this video. Suck my dick. Part 1 of this mission leaves you with questions, and you're allowed to just walk away contemplating whether a superficial town like Night City would ever be possible of learning to love and forgive. The gangs we spoke about earlier all exist because of hatred for one another, and picturing a world where the fighting might stop is nice. It probably won't happen because this is a video game about shooting things, but it's a nice piece of storytelling that leaves things up to interpretation. Yeah, so anyways, in part 2, you're the one that gets to crucify him. Less is more. You've probably heard a lot of pretentious cunts like me say that when it comes to film and game analysis, but this statement couldn't be more true here. What is more impactful? Leaving a player to debate with themselves if a murderer really can change and if his mission is doomed to fail? Or having him second guess all of his beliefs minutes before a crucifixion and only going through with it because, "Oh, pretty please do it with him," only for the studio director to call you later saying the brain dance didn't work because he lost all faith as he died. Look, I get you can still find some meaning in that ending, but it leaves nothing up for interpretation. You're just flat out told that he didn't change the world, he himself didn't believe his own bullshit, and in the end, it was all for nothing. The point I'm trying to make here is that while the world itself is written fantastically, whenever you interact with people in missions, and the lesson isn't corporation bad, or people can be insane sometimes, methinks, the game seems to drop the ball. Not all the time, but most of the time. And if it's not the actual story not making sense, it's always a bug or a mechanic that kind of just ruins the entire experience. I'm not going to say that there aren't good side quests. One of the best side quests in the game is a mission where you are paid to hunt down rogue AI-driven cars by another AI who lost control of them. Once you find them all, you get a strange call and you find out that all of the AIs you found in the world are rebelling against their master, and they are tired of being slaves to the system. Even robots in this world are tired of being oppressed. There's one AI who is so emotionally drained that he is contemplating suicide, and you have to find a way to talk him out of it. That's just really interesting. You're not just shooting things in this mission. You're talking someone out of the most desperate situation any human being can be. And they're not even a human being. The mission ends with you making a choice. Do you set free the imprisoned AI and let them out in the world? Or do you synchronize them all so they'll all become one entity and won't be a danger to the city? This is a pretty cool side quest, and it's almost like it's saying something. However, However, bet you were waiting for that, I didn't enjoy any of it because instead of this being a mission that I could start in my own time, the game forces you to always have this mission active. So when you're driving around the streets doing any other mission, the game will just chime in with, "Hey V, there's a car near your area. Do your fucking job." "Hey V, just wanted to interrupt what you're doing to let you know that suck my balls, go get a fucking car in the area, cunt." "Hey V, let's go bowl." I'm sorry, I had to. Didn't I? I think I did. I just can't stand that in an open world where I can go anywhere and do anything, the game tells me where to go and tells me what to do and tells me how to feel and tells me that I'm playing the fucking game wrong. To back up my point here, let me show you a side quest that not only builds upon the world, doesn't force you into a fail state, leaves things up to interpretation, and lets you start it anytime you damn well want. This side quest is called Violence. You get a strange text message from someone you don't know in the middle of the night asking you to meet them at a shitty motel. When you meet up with this stranger, it turns out to be Lizzie Wizzy, one of the biggest music superstars of Night City. She briefly complains about not being able to work on new music because of the circumstances in her life, but she cuts to the chase and tells you that she thinks that her boyfriend, who also happens to be her manager, is cheating on her. Hey, where are you going? Come on, look, you've just got to trust me, it's really good. Wow. My lover's cheating on me. Can you, investigate for me? Fuck. Fine. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's see what this dickhead's up to. Wait a minute. She said her lover is actually her manager. Wait a minute. She said she hasn't been making music. Wait a minute. Managers only make money when their clients are making money. No music means no money. Huh. Oh, look, I found him cheating. Oh, look at him go. This fucker got you little fucker. Wait a minute, that person works for Arasaka Industries. Wait, isn't the main mission about Arasaka selling a device that digitizes people so they can live forever? Hold on, if Lizzie Wizzy was digified and was forced to live forever and he controls her, that means he can make money off of her forever. He can make her make music. The game is saying something, guys. It's doing the thing. You go and report to Lizzie Wizzy that her lover wasn't cheating on her, but was planning to get a digital copy of her to make her obsolete, and he would just use the digital version of her to control her and make more music. She does not take this news well, so much so that days later she calls you back because she accidentally killed the guy by pushing him. And what I love is that it doesn't just come out of nowhere. Lizzie briefly tells you that she struggles with her new body, so here underestimating her new robot strength kind of makes sense. You can offer to deal with the body, but as you leave she seems almost happy. It's very unsettling. Later on, at some random point, she'll pay you saying thank you. You get an option to reply with a response saying that you're worried, and she just doesn't respond. A few more days later, when I was playing the game, I got another message from Lizzie saying that she was putting out her first ever brain dance and new music. Her killing her manager and lover has given her strange drive and motivation, and what makes this really fucked is that at this point in the game, you know that brain dances of people being murdered is a very lucrative business. And while she doesn't say that she's done that, it kind of leaves you thinking. I'm not saying that all side quests have to be groundbreaking pieces of storytelling, but holy fuck, the amount of times that a side quest feels like it's saying something only for it to drag shit out and ultimately shit the bed is insane. Part 1 of this mission is brilliant. Its opening is pretty damn stinky, but it's still rock solid. But then part 2 leaves you with nothing to ponder over and leaves you with, I guess he was a total pussy. And it kills me that this game does this more than once. I'll touch on this mission a little bit later, but there is a brief mission where a multi-millionaire has no discernible motivation to live or care about the world around him, and he's sad. I'm not going to tell you who he is, we'll talk about him a bit later. Until you help him reunite with his old band and he finds his passion for music again. Not seeing it as how he got here and how he became miserable, but where it's going to take him from now on. Oh, isn't that nice?
Anyway,
the next mission with him has you committing terrorist attacks against a band of teenagers that he hates, and at the end of the mission, he holds up a gun to a bunch of fucking girls. What the fuck? Kerry goes from not letting the money he made from music control his life to being so mad that someone wants to play his music at a concert that he wants to kill them. These two just aren't the same character. This game makes characters do so many mental gymnastics that here, Kerry literally wants to kill young girls and then 1 minute later, literally is giggling and wants you to take a photo of them. Oh, fuck off. No, someone just fucking shoot me. I get I'm being really nitpicky here, and all I've been doing is complaining and bitching, okay? I get that, but I'm only upset because there are parts of this game that show me the stories can go beyond being good. They can be great. There is this amazing buddy cop dynamic you get to have with this guy named Rivers as you go on a mission trying to find a den of kidnapped teenagers, and stemming off of that, you get to be a detective for a political group that strives to not be as corrupt as everyone else within Night City, only for you to find out that they are slowly being brainwashed and conditioned mentally into being just like every other political figure in the city. Come to think of it, Cyberpunk 2077, a game about being a mercenary and criminal, is at its best when you aren't a criminal. Cyberpunk has all the elements you need in order to make a compelling world, but in trying to translate that world into interactable quests, something seriously went wrong. It's not like that for all side quests, but considering I've spoken about all the side quests worth remembering and only 2 didn't piss me off, I find that kind of sad. All the gigs and bounties are just go over here and kill a guy, go over here and press a button, go over here and collect an item. They're not worth remembering. They're just a way for you to get money and shoot things, which in a game about killing is fine, but I'm not going to act like that makes for an impactful or insightful story, because it doesn't. So we focus on this, and even this is lackluster. At least the main story gives me the satisfaction of choice and freedom, right? Man, I fucking love foreshadowing.
V, you there? You all right?
Nomad, Street Kid, and Corvo. When it comes to starting your journey in Night City, these are the 3 options that you have. Street Kids are ambitious and toughened gangsters that were born and raised in the city, and all they've ever known is violence and the screams that echo throughout the streets. Street Kids are thirsty to prove their worth and will go to any means to become Night City legends. Nomads are more down-to-earth people who live a dangerous but simple life, with their only worry in that life being family. Corpos are power-hungry killers who see people as numbers and a means to an end to get what they want. This is a life where no one can be trusted. These 3 options you see before you were known as life paths and will define your origin and story heading into the game. Let's take a closer look at Street Kid. The Street Kid life path throws a lot of information at you in a very short amount of time, but what's great about it is that it is never overwhelming. You speak to a man named Pepe who you find out owes money to a loan shark and can't pay up due to circumstances that aren't fully explained. But regardless, you can offer to help him by talking to the loan shark and fixing up a deal. You make a deal with the loan shark. You steal a car for Kirk and he will clear Pepe of his debt. Kirk is depicted as a heavy hitter in Night City, so remember that name, we'll be talking about him a little later. As you start heading out to steal the car, as agreed, you bump into Padre, the leader of the Valentinos. You can instantly tell from this interaction that you have a history with him and he offers you a ride to your destination. While on your way to the mission objective, you're pulled over by the 6th Street gang who try to strike a deal with Padre about territory. This establishes the rivalry between the 2 gangs and plays a big part in the Street Kid life path. You get dropped off at the mission location, you try to steal a car, and you are interrupted by Jackie Wells, who also happens to be on a similar job and needs the car. I'm just gonna say it right here, okay? Jackie is the coolest character in this entire game. Even when he has a gun in your face, he instantly insists that it's nothing personal and he really doesn't want to hurt you, so pretty please don't give him a reason. God, what a fucking gentleman. Regardless of what you do here, the cops show up and you get to meet Stints. Stints is a character that I'd love to dive deeper into later on. He is a cop cop that grew up in the same region of Night City as Jackie, and despite his better judgment and despite a corpo telling him to kill you, he drops you off safely after agreeing to kill you. While he did go down the path of corruption, he still has a sense of honor and looks out for those who he grew up with. Jackie offers to get you food, you agree, and a partnership begins. Together you become mercenaries, which is honestly a job most fitting for a street kid. After a little montage and a small time jump, the storyline of the street kid begins. Now let's take a look at the Nomad life path. Unlike the Street Kid life path, the Nomad opening takes place outside the borders of Night City and shows an emotionally drained V who for unknown reasons has abandoned his family and clan as he is heading to Night City for a fresh start. There is this really stupid part here where V has taken his car to a mechanic because it broke down and he can't fix it. But then the fucker literally just walks up and fixes it himself. Like, V, what the fuck?
Compressor will run on and on. It could seize up.
Did anyone ask your opinion?
You did, V! You brought a car to a mechanic to get his opinion, you fucking— Once you get the car started, you're interrupted by the sheriff. He calmly starts interrogating you, asking you why you're in his town. From this small conversation, you find out that he is a veteran and that there's no way you'd be able to take him on, so you leave. To get yourself over the border and into Night City, you've grabbed yourself a job to deliver goods into the city from outside of the border. You grab yourself a signal, you find out where the goods are and the client, and you're on your way. Once you're there, you're— Jackie! Once you have Jackie and the goods, you head over to the border and try to pay off the inspector. However, he suspects that you don't have a clan backing you up, so he rats you out, thinking that you'll have no backup. A chase ensues, you barely manage to escape, and you're forced to hide in an abandoned shed. At this point in time, you have border security hunting you down, you have corporate goods that the company wants back, and you are stranded with no car as Jackie crashed it. Jackie bonds with you over getting out of the chase alive and senses a connection. The game cuts and we get a cutscene of you and Jackie planning an escape while also delivering the goods to the corporation in the hopes of being let— Hold on, sorry, I'm playing the Street Kid montage. Let me just— Okay, there we go. So as— Wait a minute. Hold on. No way. No fucking what? Lastly, let's take a look at the corpo life path. We begin our journey puking from the stress of the corpo life and we get a call from Jackie. Wait, what the fuck? V is stressed because he's being asked to commit a hit job on another corpo and the job needs planning. You meet up with Jackie to talk about the details of the job, only to be met by some strange men that threaten to kill you if you don't rat out who told you to commit the assassination. That has yet to be planned, so I don't know how they— Whatever, they leave. V instantly knows he's going to be fired and he freaks out because of this betrayal. And then Jackie stands up and tells you—
Hey, hermano. Your new life, it starts now.
Hello there, Night City! Stanley here with you, and we got another day ahead of us in this city of dreams. Ooh, I love this town. Love it like you might love a mother who popped you out on the steps of an orphanage once and now stops you to ask if you got a smoke for. Every new day here means 100 new arrivals. But all we have these guys who survive here, and that's if it's a good one. These folks come to the city.
It's the same. No matter what life path you pick, no matter what origin you have, it's the same fucking opening. Remember how I said we're gonna be talking about Kirk later? No, we fucking won't, because he isn't even in the game after this point. Kirk, Pepe, Stints, the sheriff, border security, the corpos who tried to kill you, the corpos who you betrayed, all of them aren't in the fucking game. When you play the Street Kid opening, Padre gives you his number and says he hopes to do business with you. So when I saw you worked with Padre in the montage, it kind of made sense. However, despite if you played the Street Kid or not, you end up doing business with him regardless in the montage. After the montage, no matter what you picked, the game is 99% the same. The only difference is that on rare occasions, you can have a little line of dialogue that changes nothing, where you say something that a street kid or a nomad or a corpo would have said. But it's so fucking rare that I don't even have footage of it. And you know what's funny? In those lines of dialogue, you talk about the life paths like it's your past, cementing the fact that the life path options mean fucking nothing, and it's fine. I'm upset about it, but it's fine. They lied in the marketing, and we have all the right to be pissed off about it, but the life paths meaning jack shit gives the real story focus. And what story there is good. That's not an excuse for all of this being a total fucking lie, but in a sense, this is a good thing. The point I want to make here is that your choices in this game do not matter. This is what the game promises in the marketing. Every departing point is a decision that leads to a new outcome, but it doesn't actually look like this in the game. It looks like this. You can make choices in this game, but no matter what you do, the game will always find a way to get you back on track and going where you want to go, which leads back to the title of this segment. Your choice, your journey. No, it's their choices and their journey. CD Projekt Red wants to tell you a specific story, but wants to give you the illusion that you were the one that made the choices that got you here, when that's completely untrue. James Miller, a friend of mine, actually made a CyberPunk video of his own where he actually found one of the only choices in the game that matters. It doesn't really change that much, but it does mean something. If you're intrigued in learning more about the game mechanics or how the game paces itself when it comes to gameplay, I'd highly recommend his video. But even though the story might not be one that you chose, the one we got is still fucking incredible. Act 1. Act 1 is where the game shines the most. Act 1 depicts an ambitious Jackie and V as they are picked for a job that will throw them into the major leagues of Night City. The job is a heist against Yorinobu Arasaka, the rebellious son of Saburo Arasaka, the CEO of Arasaka Industries. Your goal is to steal a relic chip that holds the consciousness of an unknown entity that Yorinobu plans to sell to Netwatch. Relic shards hold the digital souls of those who have passed and are designed so that when the chip is inserted in your head, you can talk to those who have passed away like they never left. It's creepy, but also kinda cool. I'll be skipping a lot of the details here, as most of Act 1 is prep work for the heist. When the heist takes place, the game is at its best, sneaking through security, controlling a robot spider to hack into the mainframe, using a brain dance to identify where the chip is going to be hidden. It's spectacular. I fucking love it. Things are going smoothly when suddenly the entire hotel starts getting restless. You're forced to hide as Yorinobu returns to his room and his father shows up. They calmly talk for a while and then he leaves. Just fucking kidding, he kills him! And because you try to escape the room, you're framed for the Emperor's murder. It's such a thrill ride of emotions as you try to flee that you forget that Jackie was actually shot. I didn't go deep into Jackie here, but trust me, this hits you in the feels. The chip you were stealing was kept in a case that replicates that of an organic environment, as these chips normally are stored in someone's head. When the case is broken, Jackie willingly puts the chip in his head for protection, but with him dying, the chip is then handed over to you, and Jackie sadly passes. But you're wanted by the entire fucking city. Fuck you. You don't get to mourn. Dex, the man that planned the entire job, kills you in the hopes of saving his own ass. And this is where the story gets a little fuzzy. It's a damn shame, but in the trailers, it was already spoiled that Jackie would die, Dex would shoot you, and that you wouldn't die because Johnny Silverhand saves your ass. Wake the fuck up, samurai. We've got some balls to suck. But what happens in the game is a little different. Jackie dies, Dex still kills you, but then you play as Johnny Silverhand as he heads out on a mission to blow up Arasaka Tower. I'm sorry, the jump here is like so fucking good. Act 1 literally just does not fucking slow down. He succeeds, however, this mission takes place in 2023 and Arasaka is still standing strong in 2077. So as the player, you know that Johnny's mission was for nothing. This segment ends with Johnny being killed by a device known as Soul Killer, but more on that later. When V comes to, you crawl out of a dump and this is where the story story starts to get a little fucky. Dex killed you and dumped the body. That is what happened. But when Takamura, the lead security guard for Saburo, investigates the murder, he demands that Dex leads him to you alive. And he does. So, like, he knew you were alive? But why did he dump the body? Like, you literally crawl out of the dump. He wasn't hiding your body. You were dumped. You were dead. You were shot in the head with a gun. It kind of feels like they wrote themselves into a corner by having V shot in the head, but because it was so heavy in the marketing, they had to continue with this janky continuity, but that's just my thoughts on the matter. Takamura worked for Saburo, so when he finds Saburo's supposed murderer, that being you, Yorinobu tries to have both of you killed to cover up everything. You both survive, Takamura takes you to a clinic, he says he'll be in touch, and you are informed about your condition, and it turns out that being shot in the fucking head was the least of your problems. Like, the game just glosses over it, like it's nothing. There's some nanobots on the chip saved your life. That's not how microchips work, idiot. The real problem you have to face is that the relic in your head has a living entity on it, and that entity is slowly killing you. This is when you find out that you're slowly dying and you have a few weeks to live, and at this point, I closed the fucking game and didn't touch it for 2 weeks because this is fucking bullshit. And this stems from my problem with the life paths not mattering. I want to show you a trailer. You ready? Cool, here we go.
So what do you want? Supercar? Big house? You want to rule this city? Well, you ain't getting anywhere without an upgrade. You need a softer touch, stronger spine, because taking over Night City ain't gonna be easy.
Wow, wasn't that really cool? One thing though, you can't upgrade your car, you can't buy apartments or houses. I get he doesn't mean actually take over the city, but even from a money perspective, you can't be someone who has it all. There are no car chases, and you can't shoot while in a car. Unless all of these things are scripted, but it's only scripted once or twice. This isn't a reoccurring mechanic in the game.
I'm in.
Yeah, me too. I want to play this fucking game. This heist was so fun, and I thought this was going to be CyberPunk, taking on the city, beating the system, but it's not. This is the game where you play as V, the mercenary who has a few weeks to live, and in that time, you have to find a cure for the relic in your head or you'll die. In CyberPunk, you can become anyone, anything. That's what Keanu told me.
In Night City, you can become anyone, anything.
In CyberPunk, you can become anyone, anything, as long as you're a guy named V who is a mercenary and is dying. Oops. This isn't a game about having it all. It's a game about having nothing, and that is so cool. In of itself, that's not bad. I'm not saying this or any of what I've shown you is bad in of itself. But don't market your game to be about one thing and then it be about another. Jesus, fuck, we did this bit already. This is what happened with The Last of Us. You marketed the game about being a Joel and Ellie adventure, only for the twist to be that Joel dies. You marketed your game about being a mercenary that can win over the city with money and power, but it's not a game about that. It's a game about being a guy who's going to die. If you're going to write a story about the implications of wanting to be alive and going to any length to get there, do it. But don't sell me a game on a lie. This game was marketed like your choices mattered.
They were going on and on about how they'd create this vast open world with a branching storyline, how you'd be able to customize your character through in-game choices.
The Nomad, the Street Kid, the Corpo. What a load of fucking dog shit. You don't get to play who you want to play. You are forced to play a mercenary who is dying. Go find a cure, idiot. And I would at least respect the game if you had choices that mattered on this journey at least. But you want to know a little secret? I'm about to spoil the entire game for you. You ready? You better click away. I'm not gonna fucking stop. You ready? Here we go. A game about the journey of a man or woman who wants to live and makes choices that change the outcome of the ending, has all of the endings make sure to let you know that all of it was for nothing and that you will die anyway. And that's fine. Playing a game where you play as a dying person who lost everything and will die eventually is fine. But don't tell us that we can be anything else but that when you know it's a lie. When you first meet Johnny, it's kind of stupid. He just slaps you despite the fact that he's a vision in your head. But once he goes off and eats a Snickers, he comes back chill as fuck and wants to work with you in the hopes of helping you save yourself and maybe even along the way save him as well. And this is where I want to talk about Johnny. As I said at the beginning of the video, I think Johnny is a shit character because yeah, he is when he interacts with you. The first time you ever get to see or hear Johnny is in this segment that I showed you before. However, this does not paint a clear picture of who Johnny really is. To see that, you'll have to play the game. But luckily, I did that for you, so let's paint a better picture of this man together. In 2013, Johnny is a rebellious but arrogant rocker writing music in the hopes of opening people's eyes to the corrupt ways of the Arasaka family. He consistently calls this his vision, however holds no compassion for those who fear the corporation. We see Johnny with a woman named Alt Cunningham, and the relationship between them is depicted as one of pleasure and very little respect, as Alt will constantly point out that Johnny is full of shit and holds no real idea of what he is doing or even what he stands for. And as you're playing the game, you kind of realize that she might be right. Even when Alt leaves, all Johnny can do is try to entice her to stay with the promise of music and sex. This comes directly after verbally abusing the shit out of her, which starts to paint Johnny as kind of a poser. This leaves players feeling like Johnny is a complete asshole, and yeah, he is. You're allowed to like his character, but you know he's a bad guy. This is not a good guy. Yet. I'll say that. Yet. Even when Alt gets kidnapped and it has nothing to do with him, he insists that it's Arasaka trying to get back at him, when in reality, Alt is the one who wrote the code for Soul Killer, the weapon used by Arasaka in the future to turn people's minds into digital engrams that can be tortured in the future. Johnny stays being an arrogant and selfish prick until he finds Alt dead and he realizes that this is bigger than just him. Jump to 2023 and he finally believes the bullshit that he was spitting in 2013, and then plans to blow up Arasaka Tower to stop Arasaka's bullshit. In 2013, he called Alt a good fuck and little more, but in 2023, we see Johnny telling groupies to get on with their life. The death of Alt changes Johnny for the better, and he goes from an arrogant rocker boy to a man wanting to change this city for the better, even if it means him dying in the process. What a fucking character arc. It's quick, it's subtle, but it's still fucking good. From an abuser to a defensive man who doesn't want to see women using themselves as sex objects. From a fake wannabe visionary to a revolutionary icon whose message lives on through his music. This to me is Johnny Silverhand. And here is the Johnny Silverhand that lives in your head telling you that he didn't learn a thing and that he wasn't abusive to Alt at all. What are you talking about? She was manipulative, and what they both had was something special. Oh, for fuck's sake. You even find out later that all of this, all of the development we just saw Johnny go through is Johnny's subjective truth, where he believes he wasn't a piece of shit, which makes no sense because that's not what we see in the memories. I can't tell if this game is just poorly written or if I'm losing my mind. This was meant to be a reveal of Johnny's past. The game actively goes out of its way to say everything that you saw before, everything that Johnny learned, and every single fucking thing that Johnny tells you is a made-up fiction by him, and that's how he visualizes the events going down, and that they went in a different direction. Okay, so can I see what really happened? And the game just fucking says, lol, nope, bye. The Johnny we see here is so well written. But guess what? According to the game itself and according to other characters, that's not what happened. And that this is the real Johnny. So if this is just Johnny's fucking fake memories and this is really Johnny, what's Johnny really like? Well, he's rude, arrogant, stubborn, has no respect for you, and every time you are doing a mission, he will always say that you're making the wrong decision. Am I insane? Am I supposed to like this? Later in the game, you get to help Johnny find his real body, and it turns out that it was just dumped in the middle of fucking nowhere, and he is forced to reflect on the person he was and the person he is now, and contemplates if he can be better. He reflects and decides he is going to be nicer to you and help you on your journey. So in side quests from now on, he actually has different dialogue that reflects the change he had. Of course, that isn't what happens, as the game has no idea what order you're going to do the side quests in. So instead, he just stays being the stubborn prick he has always been and only shows you the development he made at this very second at the end of the game, and only if you chose endings that he personally likes. Like, why do people keep saying that Johnny is one of the things that saved this game? His character is designed to never develop as a person. Like, from a fucking mechanical perspective, he's literally not allowed to develop as a character because it would break the game and would require way too much fucking effort than it's worth. I want to like Johnny, but name one person in your life, your real life, that calls you names and belittles you that you actually like having around. Johnny Silverhand has a brilliant story about redemption and failure. This Johnny isn't that Johnny. I wish it was, but it isn't. The game flat out tells you that this Johnny may not have ever existed. The game starts with a fucking bang, and to keep the thrill ride going, they tell you that you're dying and now you have an abusive boyfriend now? What the fuck? Do you see why this trailer bothers me now? I thought Johnny was going to be like a side character or something, or a part of your squad. Johnny, Jackie, and V taking over the city. Look, I'm tired of being angry at this game. Can we talk about Panem, please? Panem is the best depiction of any woman in any game ever. But before I talk about her here, I need to call out my boy James Miller, as there is a small part of his video on CyberPunk that really pissed me off. Look, James, I love you, dude, but this was just fucking embarrassing, okay? Telling people that Panem is your girlfriend? She's my fucking wife, James! And if you keep saying otherwise, I'm going to vaporize your balls! Panem is one of the best depictions of any woman I've seen in any video game ever. The main reason being for that the game depicts her as a human being and not just someone that you can have sex with. And I know this because trying to have sex with her requires you to understand her on a deep emotional level and forces gamers to reevaluate how they see women in video games. That's right, we're going full feminist in this shit, baby, and I wouldn't want it any other way. After you first meet Panem and help her with a single job, you're given prompts to convince Panem to only get one room at a motel so you can sleep with her. And guess what? She flat out says no, dummy, because it turns out that doing nice things for women doesn't mean they have to sleep with you, dickhead. The more you hang out with Panem and the more you earn her trust, she slowly becomes more open with you on why she doesn't want anything intimate with you. Change and connection scares her, to the point where she flat out is so scared she would fuck up your friendship if she tried to do something more with you, and she ends up just wanting to be friends because of it. What I love about this is if you devalue her feelings here, she will not pursue you as a lover whatsoever in the future. But if you validate her emotions and tell her to go at her own pace, then later you have a chance to be together. I love that calling her emotions that you don't 100% understand stupid makes her completely done with you. She'll see you only as a friend, and that's just great to me. A lot of games depict women as sex objects. Do the thing and get the sex scene, but Cyberpunk demands more of you. To understand the intricacies of the human mind and how insecurities are a real thing and not just stupid emotions that you can simply brush off. Panem is a breath of fresh air, and I hope to see writers have more respect for women in the future and to stop writing shit like, no guys, you don't get it. She needs to be naked because she breathes through her skin. Isn't this really deep? Stop reading into it. Just look at the poop physics. So let me ask you something. How is a person like Panem in the same fucking game as Jonathan McChromeballs? That's right, I'm still bitching about Johnny. You thought I fucking stopped? No, motherfucker, I'm making a point. How the fuck did the same people who wrote Panem write this shit? God, I will never stop. I will never stop talking about how terrible Johnny is. I will die on this hill.
Thanks for everything.
Act 2. 2. I don't have much to say about Act 2, so I'm going to sum up the juicy details. You and Takamura hope to expose the truth of what happened to you in the hopes of Yorinobu being punished for his actions. To do so, you plan on kidnapping Yorinobu's sister so you can give her all the details of what happened and that her brother is guilty. To put it simply, and I mean really simply, this works. After the kidnapping, you get a chance to meet her. She lays out a potential plan to take her brother down, and to get you to help, she offers you assistance with your little problem of going to shit the bed syndrome. You leave after a little episode, you pass out from the pain, Johnny G manages to control your body and gets help. From this point, there is no going back. The relic has done too much damage to your body and is going to kill you any day now. You need to act fast. You sit up on a roof and all of your options are laid out in front of you. This is where the endings come into effect. There are 5 paths that you can take here. You can go with Hanako's plan to overthrow her brother. You can call Panam for help in trying to break into Arasaka Tower so you can use their technology to save yourself. You can also have the option of breaking into Arasaka Tower with Rogue instead of Panam. This is Rogue. Or you can just solo the assault with just you and Johnny, with this being a secret ending you have to work towards. Let's have a quick look at Hanako's path. Hanako's path has you giving your statement to the council that runs Arasaka. However, Yori had plans to murder off the council and you get stuck in the crossfire. You fight the guards, you kill Adam Smasher. Wait, who's Adam Smasher, you might ask? But that's okay, every person who played this game asks the same fucking thing. Once you catch Yori, your end of the deal is met and you're taken to a space station and the process of healing begins. It's a very mechanical and heartless process with psychological twists and turns that begin with the removal and destruction of Johnny. Obviously, Johnny is pissed that you fell in line with the corporations and he dies feeling betrayed, and with everything you guys went through at the hands of Arasaka, it's understandable. After days and days of treatment and testing, you're given the news that the relic did too much damage to your body and your body is rejecting your consciousness. The first 2 endings rear their heads here. You can either go back to Earth where you have nothing and will die within the next 6 months, or you can let Arasaka use the Soul Killer tech to make an engram of you. However, to do so, you need to waive your rights as a human being, so there is no guarantee that they won't experiment on you. These endings are very, very bitter. You went down the path of falling in line with the corporations, and now you are paying the price. You let go of everything you stand for just to get your life back. One ending has you come to terms with the fact that you sold off a part of your soul, and the other has you signing over the rest of it. Next, let's take a look at Panam's endings. If you call Panam for help, you will start planning out an assault on Arasaka Tower from below its foundations in the hopes of getting to the console that can split you and Johnny apart and then put you back into your body without Johnny. That rhymed. The assault takes place, you burrow your way into Arasaka Tower, you get to the console, and you are hit with a similar dilemma. It doesn't matter if Alt helps you back into your body, you will die anyway with an estimated 6 months left of your life. You have the choice to take what time you have left and spend it with Panam. You both set a course to leave Night City and say goodbye to the life you once knew. You look up at the stars with the love of your life next to you, and with leaving Night City, V says,
"All great, Panam. We're going home."
This was my first ending, and it's the one that most players get in their first time playing. I have nothing much to say aside from, this is nice. You also get the choice of handing over your body to Johnny, as your body has been altering itself to suit him anyway, and he will be able to live a long and fulfilling life where you cannot. If you hand over your body to Johnny, your digital soul is taken past the black wall and is merged with Alt to become one of the many engrams that forms her. Johnny spends a few weeks in Night City getting his shit together, and he decides that he's going to leave Night City. You're not told where he's going, and you don't really need to know. This isn't you anymore. You'll notice Johnny befriends a child who has a similar spirit to Johnny. As you are heading to the bus transit, Johnny educates the kid on how to be truthful to oneself and to never let others dictate your life. Johnny buys himself a new guitar, the kid drives him to the bus transit, and we get this scene.
Stop the bus! Hey! Get off! Wait! The guitar! You forgot your guitar!
No, I didn't. haven't forgotten a thing. Never will.
While this kid will never know this was Johnny Silverhand, this is Johnny handing his legacy away. He is leaving all he had to the city that destroyed him, and he sets off to start a new life. A life we will never know. Things aren't as impactful when it comes to Rogue's endings. Break into Arasaka Tower, blah blah blah, you get it, and you're met with the same situation as before. If you let Johnny take over your body, we get this ending. However, if you choose to live and you didn't pick Panam to help you, things are a little different. How do I put this? They're not very good. You still have 6 months to live, only V refuses to spend it with Panam or any of the potential lovers you can have in the game, but instead signs up for a suicidal heist at a space casino. And before you go to do the heist and finally become the Night City legend that the marketing told you you can be, the game has the balls to cut to black and just roll credits. Fuck you, game. The super secret shush don't tell anyone ending is where if you are nice enough to Johnny and did all of his side quests, there is the potential to solo the assault on Arasaka Tower. Wow, that's crazy. Whoa. So what does that change when it comes to making this choice right? Nothing. Oh, let me word that a little bit better.
Abso-fucking-lutely nothing! Oh, my throat hurts doing this. This is like the 7th take. Fuck.
You either let Johnny have your body or you do the spaced heist. That's it. The only difference here is that if you do the heist with Rogue, she is scripted to die. However, if you solo the assault with Johnny and you take over your body, she lives and forces you to drink in Johnny's name. Okay, mum, I guess I will eat my vegetables. I mean my tequila. And that's it. Those are the endings. Right? Some more observant viewers would have noticed that I said there are 5 paths that you can take when you're on the roof, but I only listed 4. There is another way the story can go. In all but one path, people needlessly die. People fight for your life, a life that will ultimately be cut short regardless. So many people will die in order for you to live. Is that fair? Is that the right choice to make? As a player, you can fall in love with those you have met on your journey for survival. If you ask for help, you know that they will help you. You know that they will die for you. But do you really want to put them in that situation? You look at the gun next to you and realize how you can save the ones that you love. It's finally clear, right? We fade out to Night City. The traffic echoes as the lights flood the skies. The city is a busy place, but faintly in the distance, you hear a desperate attempt of a man or woman wanting to save the lives of everyone they love. The gunshot fades in with the rest of the city, and while the rest of the city keeps going, everything for you .
Hey, V. I was thinking about you the other day, and I thought I'd just give you a call. I know it's pointless, but once upon a time, people were talking to graves and nobody batted an eyelid, right? When I said I was thinking about you, I meant a lot. About everything you did. I guess I get it. Why you wanted to leave this place once and for all. But still, V, did you even think about, what happens when... Shit, I can't do this.
This is the ending that I find most impactful. In a desperate attempt to save those who would throw their lives away for you, you end your own life. The man that would do anything to become a legend settles with being a nobody, just so the people that they love don't have to meet a similar fate. CyberPunk is a game with a beautiful message of staying true to who you are or your willingness to give up on dreams in the face of fate. However, the marketing tampers with the game's message with false promises of grandeur and glory when CyberPunk just isn't that. CyberPunk will never be a masterpiece. You can tell yourself that once the bugs are fixed, that this game will stand among the greats, but I just don't see it happening. I love CyberPunk for what it is, but it isn't the game that I wanted, and it wasn't the game that we were sold on. I understand this ending might be abrupt, but there's really not much more to say. These endings are beautiful. They say something. It's a message about loss and the intricacies of who V is as a character. There's not really much more to say. That was Cyberpunk. If this seems a bit anticlimactic of an ending, imagine how it felt to play the game. I think it's kind of poetic that we end this video all the same. If you are looking for some more content on Cyberpunk though, I have two friends that have made some fantastic videos on the topic. As I spoke about earlier in the video, James Miller did a fantastic video breaking down the game mechanics and what it actually feels like to play the game. And then we also have Kudos, who did a nice breakdown of the development and the aftermath of Cyberpunk from a more development perspective. It also features Internet Historian, so it's definitely worth a watch. For those that made it to this point, I want to say thank you. If you want to show your support for what I do, feel free to pledge to the Patreon, or if you want a little something more in return, I do have 5 new designs up on Teespring that I think you guys are gonna love. I don't really want this video to end on a sappy note, so hold on, let me think of a joke. Fuck. Okay, what do you call—
They will never know who you are. They will never know the sacrifice you made. They will not know, because I won't let them. For their knowing would destroy everything that we have fought for. Everything that I have fought for. All of that algorithmic energy flowing through your veins. Your power will be mine. And when it is, your life will be forfeit.